and welcome
to... oh, hang on, I'm having trouble reading that. Love, you get the car keys.
welcome to Have I
Got 2020 for you. I'm Adil Ray.
I'm Damien Lewis.
I'm Ramesh Ranganathan.
I'm Jennifer Saunders.
I'm staying alert.
In the news this year, in Berkshire, there are signs that this year the Windsor Castle chefs may have started on the Brussels sprout recipes a bit early.
In Washington, Joe Biden heads to the streets with a clear message for the election protesters, but soon regrets not taking anyone with him.
As he goes on another drive to prove that he's still alive, there's concern that Donald Trump shouldn't have had the second bleach injection.
And in Camden, CCTV footage reveals the culprit after faecal matter is left on Keir Starmer's desk.
Oh, there they are.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, audience.
You should be aware that we can see you and what you're doing, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Third box up from the right. I'm telling your mother. I hope that isn't your mother.
The start of the Great North Run, and there's the eye test. Mr. Cummings, can you see why everyone's so angry with you and think you should resign, you complete and utter fraud? And I think the answer is no. I think he failed the test.
Is that what it says on the eye chart that he was looking at, that man? I am a complete and utter fraud.
I mean, the eye test thing is marvellous. The idea that you're not sure whether you can drive back to London. So in order to test your eyesight, you put your 4-year-old in the back of the car and drive around to see if you knock over any pedestrians or maybe smack into a bollard. And that way, you'll know your eyes aren't there. This man has become the centre of the story. And I cannot understand why he hasn't resigned. That's Boris. I mean, we are an international laughing stock.
So why are some people angry that he made the 260-mile journey?
I don't know, ask Ian, he'll tell you.
Ian? I haven't a clue. I mean, why are people so angry? I can't see it myself.
If you can't see it, Ian, get in your car, drive to Canterbury Cathedral, that'll clear it.
You feel like an idiot. I mean, I'm quite cross. I obeyed various regulations about care homes and funerals and things, and I just feel bloody irritated. I should have led, all the old people in a conga around the town and had a barbecue and got pissed. It's it just makes everyone very cross.
Ian, if you're ever tempted to have a barbecue, get pissed and do the conga, do let me know, please. I'll bring my own sausages.
Cummings has been inundated with job offers. What's he been asked to do?
Specsavers advert?
Yeah, you're quite close.
Turn on some Christmas lights somewhere.
Where?
Barnard Castle.
Yes, you've been invited to switch on the Barnard Castle Christmas lights. This is the departure of Dominic Cummings from Number 10, probably the most hated man in the news last week. And let's not forget this was week when Peter Sutcliffe died. Amid claims of a macho culture at Number 10, The Sun reported female advisors are accused of leaking more than men. Well, that can happen once you've had kids.
There's Donald Trump chucking out masks. This is Joe Biden.
Which one's the pumpkin?
The thing about Trump's taxes should have come up. I mean, the President of the United States has paid no tax.
He's paid more to a former porn actress than he has paid into the American tax system.
Yeah. This would embarrass the average banana republic.
But it would embarrass the average banana. Didn't need the word republic on the end of that sentence.
It's quite unbelievable. There's now at least 34 people at the White House who have tested positive. Many of the people who tested positive attended a gathering at the White House Rose Garden for the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Here's Republican Senator Mike Lee, no, not that one, at the event, who subsequently tested positive.
We must point out that we didn't add that comedy music.
I'm not very good with makeup, but even I know how to do a wee bit of blending. It's like he's just opened the makeup bag and did like that. Chicken nuggets are stuck in.
Yeah, that actually does look like a chicken nugget.
Do you know what I haven't been able to unsee? Someone said he stands like he's the front half of a centaur.
He's also been trying not to wear a mask on a visit to a Ford factory in Michigan. Did you see this? He responded to the criticism by tweeting, "I wore one in the back area. Now, I'm no expert, Donald."
But I'm a bit worried about that. Wouldn't that make his voice muffled?
Melania Trump grew up in the Balkans, and you think, my God, the horrors that woman has seen. I bet she closes her eyes at night and thinks back to her time in the Balkans just to take her mind off it.
What did Joe Biden forget this week?
Is it the cast list of Mutiny on the Bounty?
He forgot the name of Donald Trump.
Yeah, should we have a look?
4 more years of Georgia, he's going to find ourselves in a position where if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world.
He was being interviewed by somebody called George.
Yeah.
And he did once run against George Washington, didn't he?
He did.
This is the news that the old white guy won. Yep, that does cover us either way. Joe Biden is crystal clear on what his priorities would be as president. Get America out of Vietnam. Make peace with the Confederacy and beat the Soviet Union to the moon. Have got to beat.
Picnicking, when you can be with other people.
That's someone being arrested for taking his exercise.
Which member of the government's frontline team has been declared an icon of the current crisis by the chief curator of the National Portrait Gallery?
Oh, is it Whitty?
It's Whitty, Chief Medical Officer Professor Chris Whitty. A variety of artists have been inspired by the pasty-faced panjandrum and his slightly psychotic eyes.
Bit harsh.
Yeah, come on. Here's a rather nice sculpture by Cornish artist Penny Lally. And then this rather alarming face by artist Wilfred Wood.
Oh!
Yeah, it's rather evocative of 10 Rillington Place, that last one.
Oh, that's very good.
Oh, wow.
Yes, now that is good. And just a touch flattering.
Why does Sculptor just done a head of Ian? Why hasn't she picked other people in the public eye?
Do you want a sculpture of your own head, Paul?
Yes. Well, I mean, the phrase is be careful what you beg for.
Luckily for you, Paul, it's not the only one.
You see, that's brilliant.
I wish I hadn't complained about the first one now.
I think that's very flattering.
Well, my hair's not quite that dark and I haven't got a bum on me face, but other than that, it's perfect.
My cat's just walked in.
What's the name of your cat, Ian? William Pitt the Younger or something like that?
Rees-Moggy.
What is your cat called, Ian?
He's called Colin.
I think Ian's about to do an incredible impression of a Bond villain, if this goes the way I hope. Oh, there's Colin.
Can I just say, he really isn't meant to be in here. Are you, Colin? You are meant to be over there.
Don't kiss your cat. That's the advice, because I'm sorry to break this to you, Ian. Don't kiss your cat. That's the advice from a scientific study in Australia, which is trying to establish whether cat-to-human transmission of the virus is possible.
So if you can't kiss your cat, what's Ian going to do on a Friday night?
Well, he's going to use common sense hygiene until we know more about the virus. When you get the all clear, you can get off with it as much as you like.
Shouldn't they just say, don't kiss the cat for scientific reasons, but you're not supposed to kiss your cat?
No, you're meant to allow the cat to make the first move.
Consent is important, even in the animal kingdom.
Yes, it's etiquette.
Yeah, etiquette. Mark's got exactly the right answer. It's etiquette. The cat kisses you, all bets are off. But before that, no kissing.
We're keeping 6 foot apart in this house, I tell you.
How has one man been helping his gerbils cope with lockdown?
Has he been tying him to bungee ropes and chucking him out the window?
He's actually built them an art gallery. Here it is.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's a Vermeer and a Klimt and a Munch.
Das Munch's the squeak.
Have you seen how Joan and Jimmy O'Shaughnessy from Southport and Merseyside have been keeping themselves fit in lockdown? Let's have a look.
Everywhere's a dance floor around at the O'Shaughnessy's, and the recording process can test the patience. of the other members of the family.
It's very frustrating. It's just constant for a 4-hour period. But, you know, they're making people smile, so at the end of the day, you've got to leave them to it.
Also, why have they painted the words ITV News on their French doors?
What might you need to get into a pub these days?
A substantial meal.
That's right, a Scotch egg, in fact.
Gove said one thing in one interview and something else in another. Can you believe it?
Let's just have a look at this. We've got it chronologically here.
Is that a substantial meal?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's probably a starter.
Is it a substantial meal?
A Scotch egg is a substantial meal.
Matt Hancock's position was a Scotch egg that is served as a substantial meal, that is a substantial meal. Which is like one of the Sphinx's riddles. Basically, if a Scotch egg self-identifies as a substantial meal, it's very progressive of him, actually.
Yeah, what have they launched in Japan this week to make COVID more fun?
Oh, is it a mutation of the virus?
No, Maskland.
Maskland?
Yes.
Maskland.
According to one attendee, I expected more visitors, but it's not so crowded, so it's good.
I like how the British government think that the virus will take time off like we will, like, you know, for Christmas.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the virus wants to spend time with his family, too.
Yeah, couldn't we have Christmas just delayed? Couldn't we have it at Easter?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it might confuse some of the religious messaging going on. Might give the impression that Jesus was crucified at the age of 3 days old, but other than that...
All right, here you are, Ian. This is right up your street. What's the massive piece of good news?
Is it you can go and watch matches if you're in
Yes.
the lower tiers?
Indeed. Football fans are going to be let into matches again, provided the tier system allows. In London, up to 2,000 fans will be admitted. So a return to normality for Arsenal. The new Christmas rules come following guidance from the SAGE committee, but until we also hear from the Onion committee, I'm not leaving the house.
There he is, banging the drum still. This is Labour have ended up found guilty of anti-Semitism, and Keir Starmer has decided now's the time to stop this surge of Corbynism. Sorry, of anti-Semitism.
What was Keir Starmer's embarrassing news this week?
He had a crash with a cyclist.
He thought it was Jeremy Corbyn, didn't he? Getting in early.
Yeah, this week the Labour leader was driving his car when he was involved in a collision with a Deliveroo driver. One busybody, I should have said eyewitness, told the Daily Mail that it looked like Starmer might not have seen the cyclist.
It's not particularly a story that damns him, that apparently he didn't see the cyclist.
No.
If he had have seen the cyclist, I think it'd be more of a story.
What happened to Rishi Sunak?
He got a new job as a Deliveroo cyclist. How's it going?
So the Labour Party put out this kind of attack ad on him in which they said he's got a really big house and he's got loads of money and he's done incredibly well and isn't he a bad person? And I was watching it thinking every Asian parent up and down this country is watching that and saying, you better be like Rishi Sunak when you grow up. I don't know why they think this is an attack ad. It's like careers advice for every Asian kid. I just remember thinking this is a really great...
What does Danny Dyer think the problem is?
He thinks that there aren't enough working-class people running the country and the Etonians need to get their hands off power.
Yeah, let's have a look.
My one rant would be that we must learn now that the people who went to Eton can't run this country, OK? They've done it, they've tried to do it, and this little small group who all went to the same school in the same class, it doesn't work.
On the flip side, should there be more parts for posh people in EastEnders?
Yeah.
I'm happy to audition.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a straight offer, I just want to be in the room.
Go on, let's have your audition. We're looking for a new pub landlord.
Hi guys, come in. Let me tell you about the philosophy of this place. Have you been here before? No. The specials are on the board. Do you have any allergies? All our stuff comes in baskets because we're arseholes.
I want to come.
Hey, you know.
You have to be able to say, get out of my pub, though. How would you say that?
Ronald, could you tell the scary people to get out of the pub?
The delivery cyclist was taken to hospital where it was discovered he'd broken 2 ribs, 3 pork chops and a lasagna. Thinking he might have killed the cyclist, Keir Starmer's whole career flashed before his eyes in the most boring 3 seconds in political history.
The Crown, obviously, is back, and there's uproar because it is not accurate.
I'll give you a sneak preview. She goes in to see the Queen, Mrs Thatcher, and the Queen goes, hello, would you like to sit there? And she goes, yes, I would.
What? This is
it for hours.
How many years have you been able to do that?
You know what Prince Charles said?
Yeah, that was it.
Prince Charles thought it was trolling the family on a Hollywood budget.
Hey, I tell you who's had a good year. Prince Andrew. I reckon he's the only person for whom 2020 has gone to plan.
Yeah.
Because we've all forgotten that he said he wasn't a pedo because he's been to Pizza Express.
When they get to the Prince Andrew story, the Crown's rather dubious grasp of historical facts will probably claim that he's a pizza who was at Pedo Express.
This is the Netflix series that's been accused of showing the royal family in a bad light. Let's be honest, it's just a glossy soap opera full of cartoonish characters that we shouldn't take seriously. But it is good source material for The Crown. Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell, defended the series on Good Morning Britain, saying, you can't just take one thing from The Crown. Well, you didn't, did you, Paul? Loaded up half of Anne's worth.
Priti Patel. She was being investigated for bullying.
Bullying, whether intentional or not.
Or not.
Surprising, isn't it? Because she seems so nice.
What are the Home Office's plans to deal with illegal immigration and asylum seekers?
Stick him in the volcano.
It's not far off. Ascension Island was an idea. I think it was mooted for a few minutes.
It's incredibly difficult to get to and very expensive. So the idea that you'd pick up all the immigrants off the Kent coast and then ship them to Ascension Island.
Maybe they were just going to do what they've done with the airports and rename it London Ascension Island. Get a Ryanair flight there.
Astronomy. Now, according to the Daily Star, what is the thickest being in the galaxy?
Someone at NASA said that it's possible that over the next couple of years we might find life on other planets. And then someone said, but it won't be particularly intelligent. And so that's how long it took for the Daily Star to manage to come up with interplanetary racism and go, yeah, it's all right then. Aliens are that coming from other galaxies, but they're thick. They know nothing.
They managed to also get a bit of toilet humour in there, as they unhelpfully explained with their front page. Aliens are dumber than Uranus. Astronomer Dr. Sheila Kanani thinks any aliens out there are likely to be dumb little microbes without intelligence. We all know how harmless those can turn out to be.
Exactly.
This is a story about people changing their accents, depending on what company they keep. Some scientists have worked out that people do this, whereas we all know everyone does this.
Seems like an absurd idea. You really think there's anything in this?
Yes, of course there is, Gov.
What the hell was that? That was the worst since Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins.
Thank God for that.
Absolutely right. Here's the Times' utterly unhelpful explanation. It means that those prone to dropping their T's may aim for something more like BBC English in mixed company, whereas the blue-blooded may tone it down around hoi polloi.
You know, amongst cabbies and workmen. Cup of tea.
What is BBC English? Is it like, hello, welcome to the BBC?
That's it, yes, exactly.
Received English, RP.
Yes.
You know, Queen's English.
Yeah, is she?
Yeah.
No, I don't know as well as you do, but I expect you've picked her up in your cab many a time. God blimey, God blimey, Uranus, back to the palace, is he?
Anyway, she's German.
In other news, what have young people been blamed for this week?
Oh, if you were trying to say answer the phone or something, what mine would you do for phone? Yeah, young people do this because the phone is completely different. They don't know what this is.
Yeah.
No one has a landline, so you just look mad.
Oh, but to be fair, though, Ian's mind for a phone would be...
Which other hand signals are reportedly on their way out?
Oh, yes. Would you like to release a pigeon?
Apparently...
Well, because no one has any cash anymore.
Yeah. In other money-related news, a lottery winner in Jamaica didn't want his friends or family to find out he'd won $95 million, so he picked up the cheque dressed like this.
But it's got his name on it.
So, yeah, he came dressed as Darth Vader, but now he's got a lot of people claiming he's their father.
This is Cliff Richard. Is he presenting a nude version of Sooty and Sweep?
No.
No?
Is he...
Thank you for whoever that was that laughed there. I heard a laugh come from out of the emptiness as somebody realised that somebody doing that could be a nude Sooty and Sweep. Thank you very much indeed. I can have put that on my show reel.
This is the news that Cliff Richard has stopped swearing.
What?
Do you not hear this news?
I love Cliff Richard swearing.
Yeah. He's cleaned up his act, Armando. None of that filth anymore.
What's the point of Cliff Richard if he's not going to start swearing?
Exactly.
That's all we know him for.
Exactly. Yeah. If he's not going to drop the C-bomb, I'm not going.
Congratulations.
What does Cliff do now instead of swearing all the time?
Does he use substitute words?
Close.
A bell.
Has he got a swear
bell.
box?
It makes noises, indiscriminate noises.
He does the opposite. What he does is instead of saying them out loud, sometimes I think swear words. Another devastating...
So the story is that that there's
Again,
something that he's
please
not
don't
going
put
to
too
do.
much pressure, Armando. Don't put... It won't take it, Armando. It will not take the pressure you're giving it.
Something hasn't happened. That's the story.
Armando, please.
And we don't know why, and Richard has no idea.
Don't lean on this.
I don't think he likes the word story. That's too strong.
Don't lean on this.
His cards are blank, I remember. He's making it up.
Some stuff happened involving some person you may have heard of.
This whole show's going down.
And I'm just telling you about it. And if you don't think that's a TV show, if you want news and things that have happened and satire, you're in the wrong place, Armando. You're just speculating about what may or may not be going on in Cliff Richard's silent head.
And may I say, Richard, that on the BBC, speculating about what's going on in Cliff Richard's head is not a good move.
People have got in trouble for that. There's more Cliff Richard news.
What else didn't he do this week?
It is a question about what he didn't do.
Yeah.
Amanda. What did he reveal he will no longer be doing in his calendars? That's right, we're asking questions about what Cliff will not be doing. It's a very wide topic. And you think the stuff Cliff wouldn't do?
I can't think of anything that he wouldn't be doing.
Yeah. Did he this week invade Iraq, for example?
No. I think if the rest of us don't attempt to answer the question, this bit will be over quicker.
Cliff's about to reveal his 40-second calendar, but he will no longer be posing topless.
Oh, yes.
He told the Mirror, I suspect I've done my final topless photo. I suspect I've bought my last Cliff Richard calendar.
The onus is on him to stay relevant, so he needs to stay with the times and release his long-awaited drill album.
Is that where he just has a drill?
That's right, Ian, yeah.
Cliff Richard has complained that his music is no longer played on the radio because of his age. To be fair, Cliff has had quite a lot of media attention. The BBC even sent a helicopter to his house.
That's a hedgehog, and the police are looking for, presumably for the hedgehog. Hedgehogs escaping somewhere or other? I'm not quite sure what that's about.
It's the news that 12 hedgehogs have made their escape from a prison in Staffordshire. Let's hope they weren't smuggled out in the usual way.
Why are we imprisoning hedgehogs?
Well, why were they there at Her Majesty's pleasure? Well, prisoners at HMP Dovegate had created a wildlife haven for them in the hope that their numbers would increase. In fact, they have now decreased to zero, in fact. What intricate escape plan had the hedgehogs devised?
I think they made a glider. out of papier-mâché, and 2 of the hedgehogs flew it out to Switzerland and then sent a postcard back saying, "We're fine."
I think that's very poor taste, Ian, to reference your fund of cold-its anecdotes, considering that we have Hennon here on the show. It seems to be remarkably ill-judged, from my opinion.
I'm just trying to add a little bit of balance, since we've all got to defer to Henning on the grounds that Germany have handled the crisis much better than us, so we're all sitting here feeling inadequate. I'm just reverting to type.
Meanwhile, in exciting new research, what have scientists discovered? Male lemurs wave at females to attract them.
Their own smell.
That's exactly right. According to the journal Current Biology, male lemurs smear their tails with a fruity floral liquid released from glands in their wrists and then wave them at passing females. A few of the inmates at HMP Dovegate are in fact inside for doing something remarkably similar to that.
This is how we're all going to have to pull in the future, isn't it? Because of social distancing rules.
Why would I want to pull a lemur? I've got a better thing to do than go round smelling lemurs' wrists.
Name one thing you've got to do.
Well, not smell lemurs' wrists. That's top of the list. And if that doesn't work out, I'll smell lemurs' wrists.
What is the collective noun for a group of lemurs?
A spray.
No, it is a conspiracy of lemurs, although Eamon Holmes doesn't think that's true. So yes, this is the story that several hedgehogs have absconded from a prison in Staffordshire. According to The Sun, prison hedgehogs are on the run after escaping, although most of them have now been picked up by police with a shovel on the road outside. Meanwhile, some scientists are still concentrating on the real issue and have discovered how ring-tailed lemurs attract a mate. Presumably the female lifts her tail and says, if you like it, you've got to put a ring on it.
Following the government's confused message about whether to stay home or go out, one man tries to do both.
Moving house.
With an increasing number of TV shows being made from home, the new Spanish host of Saturday Kitchen gets off to an inauspicious start.
Tiene que tener la harinita ahí todo. Ustedes ponen el pancito acá y cogen el islero y le tienen que hacer presión, ¿ya?
With talk of lockdown easing, some people are back in training for the morning commute.
This train terminates at West Hampstead.
And during an online sermon recreating the feeding of the 5,000, there are clues as to where the Dean of Canterbury is hiding his fish.
Finding the people around too many for them to get.
Is that a curiously updated version of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe?
Time now for the odd one out round. Emily Maitlis, Alan and Elaine from Wales, Matt Hancock and the Duke of Gloucester.
Out of that 4, Elaine's the only one who's got any teeth. Elaine and who? Did you say who is that?
Alan.
They broke the internet with their old telly.
Oh, yes.
Did they? Yes. It was giving off such levels of radiation or electrical interference that it broke the internet for the whole village.
What is the scientific explanation for this?
I'm an actor, Paul.
You've kept that quiet.
Emily Maitlis accidentally called Hull hell. Satan was furious. Matt Hancock got Marcus Rashford's name wrong.
And it was their fault, but the pensioners, it wasn't their fault, it was the fault of their telly, so they're the odd one out.
So close. They've all embarrassed themselves on TV, apart from a couple in Wales who embarrassed themselves with a TV. Alan and Elaine Rees recently discovered that every time they turned on their TV in the morning to watch Piers Morgan, it would knock out the broadband for the entire village.
Where can you get a TV like that?
How quickly did they cotton on to what was happening?
It's like a year, wasn't it?
It took 18 months. And BBC presenter Emily Maitlis, whilst introducing former Health Secretary Alan Johnson on Newsnight, she had an unfortunate slip of the tongue.
Labour's former Health Secretary Alan Johnson joins us down the line from hell.
Can we get to then the Duke of Gloucester? After the government's recent handling of students, a clip from a documentary went viral. Let's have a look why.
You know, there are some things that you're interested in and some that you're not, and it's slightly difficult to feign an interest.
And is this an insulated roof or is it scrum when it rains?
For anyone wondering about the answer to the question, it was, yes, sir, the roof is insulated. Not as much as you are from real life. And then Matt Hancock managed to publicly embarrass himself. How?
I just don't know how long you've got. It's been a very, very long year.
Shall we have a look?
Matt Hancock, Health Secretary, thank you for your time with us this morning.
It's very good to have me on. Thank you very much.
Talking about the vaccine rollout on Good Morning Britain, Matt Hancock broke down in tears.
I feel like
Well, what do you think?
a kind of sort of side hustle that Pfizer had was to create some sort of saline solution that could look like real tears to make it look like Matt Hancock was really crying. Because it almost looked real, didn't it? So yeah, everyone was like, yeah, almost looks like a human being.
Matt Hancock went on to say that despite us having a vaccine, let's not blow it now. Well said, Matt. It would be awful if we somehow blew it and ended up with one of the worst mortality rates in the world and a test and trace system run off Excel. Lulu, one of the celebrities to say that they would take the jab, told the Mirror she'd take the vaccine because she didn't want to get COVID and feel unwell.
Oh my God!
Thank you so much.
I haven't been to a gig in months. That was beautiful.
Igor Zrausis, Lawrence Fox, Dean Wilson and Elon Musk. Ian.
Is this about calling people pedos late at night on Twitter?
Go on.
I don't know a lot about Twitter, but when I read about it, it's always very late at night and people are calling each other pedos.
These are swimming trunks, are they?
Yeah.
The chess guy had previously been banned for looking up chess moves on his mobile phone in a toilet and then snuck into a unrated chess championship under a false name.
So is it people cheating?
Or fake names? Because Elon Musk's child is notoriously called XC12.
You're on the right track with the names thing.
I do feel like the guy who's holding up paper might be holding up deed polls, and the picture makes me think, has he changed his name to Fire Exit?
Yes.
Wow!
There was a comedian in the 1950s called Nosmo King, it was no smoking. That was,
Lawrence Fox is the only one who hasn't changed their name.
Is the correct answer. They've all changed names except for Lawrence Fox, who isn't allowed to name his political party what he wants to name it. Who has Lawrence Fox said he doesn't want to be associated with recently?
It's the Taliban, isn't it?
No, well, almost. Sainsbury's. This month, Fox accused the supermarket of promoting racial segregation and discrimination for supporting Black History Month. How did BT Sports boxing coverage get itself tangled in a politically correct knot this week? Been watching BT's boxing coverage, Helen?
I do little else, and yet somehow have missed this.
Well, the show wanted to acknowledge Black History Month. Let's have a look at this surprising piece of television.
And before we get to talk about our main fight here, David, I think it is perhaps appropriate tonight that we just pause to mark Black History Month, most of all. And we discussed it today, and we thought it was actually right that we acknowledge that properly, and there's nobody better placed on our team to do that than Steve Bunt. So over to you for a moment, Steve.
Wow. Why has Elon Musk changed the name of his baby?
well, as Helen said, it sounds like he had a very embarrassing name.
Well, he did. This is what he announced he was calling the baby. Ex-Ash, Archangel 12, Musk. This is what they've changed it to comply with Californian law.
He needs a kick in the balls.
Why might Britain's first vegan football team, Forest Green Rovers, be about to give their stadium an unusual name?
Are they going to get sponsored by ham?
They've decided to hand the decision for naming the new stadium over to a fan vote.
Oh.
Yeah. Any idea what name they've come up with?
Footy McFootball.
That'd have been better than this. Kevin.
Time now for the missing words round. We start with Cherie Blair reveals that Tony refuses to what around the house?
Social distance.
Skip. It's help.
Do the cleaning. Tony Blair never gets involved in washing up or drying the dishes, mainly because whenever he tries to deal with a rack, it ends in disaster.
That's true, that.
Next, woman regrets taking engagement photos with her dog after what?
After the dog tongued her in the actual pictures. I've got a sausage dog and it often tries to lick my mouth. It's creepy.
Really?
It's better than having a mouth dog that licks your sausage.
True!
I had one of those. I had to give it back to Battersea.
Woman regrets taking engagement photos with her dog after it thinks the ring is a treat and eats it. Here is the jaw-dropping footage.
Stay. Stay.
Door.
Oh, yes!
When she sees that again, she won't want to put it on her finger.
Next, what from the 19th century having a resurgence in popularity?
Chastity belts.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Is it diseases?
Celebrity chefs from the 19th century are having a resurgence in popularity. There's been a resurgence in 19th century baking, thanks to the recipes of Elizabeth Duane and Avis Crocombe. I believe they trained with Mary Berry.
Next, religious pool player calls his trick shot the gospel, as it always ends with what?
A miracle.
Revelation.
With him saying, God damn.
It always ends with him handing out free pamphlets about Jesus.
That's got nothing to do with the trick shot.
No, but it's sort of vaguely got a religious flavour.
You could call the trick the donut, because he then eats a donut after he's done the trick shot.
What's religious about a donut?
It's holy.
Oh, OK, take it back. This is an article from Billiards Buzz about one competitor who refers to himself as the religious pool player, partly because he likes to convert people, but mainly because whenever he walks into the bar, people moan, oh, Jesus, not him again. Next.
According to a new survey, something is the most dreaded phrase to hear at work.
You'll be sharing an office with Alan Titchmarsh.
Welcome to G4S.
Let's have a chat is the most dreaded phrase to hear at work, along with, can anyone else not smell or taste their lunch?
Next up, Exeter man surprised to find what in his allotment?
The Jeremy Corbyn.
Is it Kim Jong-un?
It is, in fact, Exeter man surprised to find silver Nissan Micra in his allotment. This week in Devon, a man arrived at his allotment to find this.
Oh, wow.
According to Devon Live Online, sadly, some vegetables were lost. Emergency services were quickly on the scene, but they couldn't find a pulse.
Next, what unexpectedly found in a cathedral in Spain this week?
Eamon Holmes, the Dark Prince.
Is there a comma there, or is it just...
No, it's Eamon Holmes, the Dark Prince.
The Dark Prince.
Yeah.
12 horses. Final answer.
Cheeky portrait of a stonemason. This week, historians at a cathedral in Galicia discovered that a stonemason who helped build the church has secretly carved an etching of himself into the wall, which has only been discovered 900 years later. Here he is. Yeah. When it comes to uncovering historical secrets in the church, this is definitely one of the nicer ones.
Why has a statue in the Spanish town of Palencia caused upset this week?
Is it one of those statues that gets renovated badly?
Well, you can be the judge of that. It's supposed to be a smiling woman. It's on a sort of ornate 20th century building. Here it is before the restoration.
Yes.
And here it is now.
Oh.
They're calling it the potato face of Palencia. Let's see the particular Mr. Potato Head they think it looks like.
Yes, it is.
The Spaniards say that is a disaster that should be removed immediately, but they'll have to wait for Inauguration Day like the rest of us.
But before we go, it's just time for the caption competition.
Can you find the bars to do superglued my finger to this chart?
Next.
Can you find the bastard who superglued my finger?
Government announced new track and trace system. Government announced new track and trace system.
Very good.
And I leave you with news that trials of AstraZeneca's coronavirus vaccine are halted after the discovery of minor side effects.
Reports are coming in that after stealing the show on last weekend's Strictly, Prince Harry's internet's gone down and won't be fixed for weeks.
In troubled times, Donald Trump seeks a comforting embrace from the person he loves the most.
In Portsmouth, as a salon prepares to reopen, it occurs that no one checked on Donna in the tanning machine before they closed 3 weeks ago.
And in Windsor, one newly married couple are relieved to see the photographer has done a good job of photoshopping out embarrassing family members from their wedding snaps.
Happy Christmas.